Agatin chitap kalenjin eng uitugul ole imitei itagat eng tetutiengung nebo tililindo rani. Kainenyu ko Chesankaro Sirma ak kabarastaindet nekimitei tuwai eng oretab kabarunoik ko Naomi Cherotich. Kokikuschini kong logoiwekab emet ole kakomongei nekirubeiwotab President Rigathi Gachagua akobor kaimetabgei eng kit nekamwa kole kikotestai serikalitab Kenya Kwanza kong'emchi inendet sobet kosubgei ak nekikotestai inendet koyai polotet nebo upinzani neboto korirtoe serikali eng kayamisutik chetomo kisuldae eng kwenutab yautik alak chekamwa kole chemwoe Gachagua kole maiyanotin cheyae serikali. Kong'ololjin sirikab logoiwek eng taonitab Nairobi komwa Gachagua kole tindoi logoiwek ak baornatet neiboru kole kikotyem kobar inendet serikali eng kasarwek cheterter kobate tomo kosulda notok kosubkei ak toretet nenyoru inendet kobun biik cheterterchin. Kaboisie boroinotok Gachagua kokon kateunet eng serikalitab President William Ruto mat kotokchigei kanyalilet nebo kandoikab upinzani kobate koityi kamanutiet neo kasuldaetab boisiet nebo ibunetab bandab tai ak walet eng emet.
At about 2:30 p.m., we received further intelligence from the deployed patriotic officers who are not in agreement with the information that they had clear instructions to plant arms and weapons in our convoy to provide evidence to arrest us and get evidence that they could charge us with in court. After about 30 minutes, the killer squad was joined by their counterparts who are highly trained in the use of biological weapons. Their instructions were to poison me through inhaled chemicals that would paralyze my brain within 3 months. This was the intent and the purpose of the whole operation. My team and I sought alternative routes as guided by the deployed security personnel, majority of whom are our supporters and opposed to what is going on. We have credible information that President Ruto has directed that my private security personnel be disarmed and be targeted for withdrawal of their licenses so that they can leave me vulnerable to allow room for goons to attack and possibly eliminate me. I have not been summoned by anybody, and I'm waiting if there is any summon. What happened is that they wanted to plant weapons in my convoy, and they wanted to use chemicals so that they can paralyze our brain the way they did to Kenneth Matiba. And that is why we had to take an alternative route to get here. I would have wished they came here instead of wailing us on the road and using those dreaded criminals who are responsible for abductions and extrajudicial killings. And that squad works under the Director General of the National Intelligence Service. It's 101 officers who are recruited from the administration police, and they have been given special training by the National Intelligence Service, and they are responsible for the abductions and extrajudicial killings. And that is the squad that had been planned yesterday and mobilized so that they can incapacitate me and my people. About my statement on post-election violence, this was a precautionary statement and not incitement. It is based on historical facts and past electoral experiences of 1992, 1997 and 2007 controversial elections, that we must have a free and fair election in 2027. It is my civic duty as a leader to remind IEBC, all agencies and institutions charged with election management, that they must deliver free, fair, verifiable, and credible election. I have heard the CS Interior and other pretenders to the throne claim that they will not allow political violence. I urge them to walk the talk. Since November 2024, political violence of great magnitude has been meted on me, my family, and my supporters. Not a single case has been prosecuted.
Ak logoiwek ko kakomongei ng'ololindetab serikali Isaac Mwaura akosom biikab emoni kosich kayanet eng boisionik cheyoe serikalitab Kenya Kwanza eng mwaet kole chang boisionik chekikoyai serikali chekikotoret eng kanabtaetab bandab tai. Kong'ololjin sirikab logoiwek eng Nairobi komwa Mwaura kole kikomuch serikali kotoret mung'arosiek chemengechen ole kikotaban serikali rabisiek chekiboisie kekanabtae mung'arosiechoto asi kotoret eng kanabtaetab uchumi ak bandab tai nebo emoni. Eng kasarata kotechi Mwaura kandoik chotok chebo emoni cheibe biikab emet kole kipchin kakwautik chekimen chebo kergong'et konamgei ak ng'atutiet.
The pronouncements by certain political leaders concerning the 2027 general elections, it is totally unacceptable for any leader to imagine that they can incite Kenyans into violence just because they would want to accrue political mileage and to threaten the peace. If we all remember, in 2007, there was that whole issue of so many Kenyans dying, and they will never come back to life. And there was displacement of 600,000 Kenyans. So for anyone to threaten that, I think that is totally unacceptable, and the government strongly condemns such utterances, and we will stop at nothing to ensure the safety of Kenyans and peace and tranquility within our borders. We are seeing people who are outrightly lying in order to gain popularity. How on earth can anyone say that President Ruto has taken 3 to 4 trillion shillings the last 2 years? I mean, it's totally hogwash. Even I myself, as a government spokesman, having served in the Budget and Appropriations Committee of the National Assembly and Vice Chairman of the Budget Committee of the Senate, our budget for the whole year is 4 trillion shillings. I mean, then how do you make it that as an individual can have that kind of money? It's totally unacceptable. I think some of these things are outlandish and they had to be called out because they are meant to incite Kenyans against the government and its programs, because people are now seeing that the government, having taken painful decisions initially, now they are starting to yield. Tomorrow, we shall have the affordable housing, the first time that we'll have keys that will be handed over by none other than His Excellency the President at Mukuru. It's now no longer Mukuru slums, it's Mukuru Estate, And you can see the people of Riara Village are very happy. 13,248 units are up, and 1,080 people will receive their keys already. Over 970 of those units have been verified and the ownership. So, and there are great Kenyans there who are celebrating. So Kenyans are invited at 8 a.m. people to be seated so that the president can actually hand out the keys as we promised. We are also seeing people who are resisting change and fighting back. The head of public service is the #1 public servant in this country. And he has the seal of the president. He is the one who executes that which the president wants to be done. He helps to run the government on a daily basis. And so therefore, people who are resisting change in state corporations, in ministries, departments, and agencies are not amused, because for the first time, we are seeing a head of public service who is resolute, who is determined to weed out corruption, and there are those who are resisting change when it comes to issues to do with e-procurement.
Ketesetai ko kakonerekyi boisiekab Miot Council of Elders kibagengeit nebo National Cohesion and Integration Commission NCIC eng nekomwa kole kokotemene icheket boisienywa missing ko kotinygei ak ng'alalutik chebunu alak eng kandoikab polatet cheimuchi koib suriet ak pcheiyet eng emoni. Kondochin nebo ng'echeret eng kokwanoto bo Miot mornet nebo Nakuru Kangugo Iatich kosom boisiechoto kibagengeit noto bo NCIC kosuldae boisienywa ama eng kaiweisiet anan ko kalotunet. Iarorwech koindab logoiwechuto sirindenyo Sylvester Rono.
Gondochin nebo ng'echeret en Miot Council of Elders County nebo Nakuru Kangugo Iatich ko kanerekyi boisiechoton ng'alalet kobun alak en kandoik chebo bolotet chekamwa kole kakotestai koleta suriet ak karirtaen kibagengeit nebo National Cohesion and Integration Commission chekamwa kole mamiten kakwautiet nekakoipchi kandoik choton kakotestai koleta ng'alalet nemaiyanat.
NCIC ikiongozwa na rafiki yangu huyu naitwa Bishop Reverend Kobia. Kobia, you are failing the country. It is time to wake up. Kimeche institutions, independent institutions, chigerge NCIC, kukwa kapsa kifua mbele okuboisien ng'atutik chebo Kenya. Ako ye machi ng'olyon netue biik hapana keti mpaka mimi na au wazee au viongozi wengine au even president aseme ati kwa nini hapana shika huyo, hapana.
Kanerikyi mising ichek ng'alalet kobun nekorubeiwotab president Rigathi Gachagua en ng'alalet nekokon kotinygei ak chemarget nebo kokaibata lewenisiet.
It is not even thinkable hata kufikiria peke yake kusema ati Kenya haitakuweko kama what kind of leader is that? So tumekasirika sana kama wazee na kuona viongozi wakiongea ya kumeche kitegemochin kule ne kandoik chicho mata ameten chichu kupelgei mwenyewe kicham kumwa mzee hayati mzee Daniel Toroitich arap Moi kukile kibistoi chito achikarange na mafuta yake.
Kamiten Kakukuyatich ak neki kansela John Kibrono Kipkwei nekachupto ng'alaletab Gachagua ak kosom biikab emet korib kalyet.
Biikab Kolenjin asome biikab Kolenjin okonun amani eripte pale. Omo makengi chi newendi koketegei. Omo makengi chi newendi kobeku inegei. Chakomwa kokomwa inegei na itaisha peke yake. Ongecheng oret nekitebisoti ak biik alak ak keyai biashara ak ketech emoni. Biik chemi Rift Valley yu tugul koma Gachagua. Chemi Rift Valley kokoek kesom akichek chekose kutit kotebi ak amani akorib emet ak kekosyine ketebi tugul asikebe tai.
Kong'eten county nebo Nakuru, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass. Kainenyun ko Sylvester Rono.
Yekitestai kokoimongei chong'indab biikab emet eng taonitab Eldoret asikokoito kerenywa kotinygei ak Technical Working Group. Notok ko kibagengeit nekikitoi asikoyai ng'alalutik akoib keretab biikab boror akobo koimutiet nebo kanyalilet nekitokyin kwonyik ak tibiik. Takchingei kibagengeit notok konyor walutiet nebo kipchulia newendi kotoreti eng kirindaetab koimutiet notok kikoibchi kobet sobonwekwak kwonyik chechang koboto tibiik. Logoiwek chearorwech eng koindo sirindenyo Isaac Kogei.
Kotoche kerutikab biikab emet eng taonitab Eldoret koma Technical Working Group inotok kondochin Eileen Kaur Jabal, Valentine Simei ak Honorable Mercy Chepkurui kole nyolu eng biikab emet komongei ak kotoretkei ak ofisaekab serikali eng ng'ang'unetab yautik chotok chebo nyerset ak barisiet nekokotestai kwo barak eng emoni.
One positive aspect that has come out is that there seems to be a lot of psychological support available. That's very encouraging. Because as one participant brought it up, that even the perpetrator needs psychological support. After all, what has caused him or her to go to that desperate extent that they are causing harm to a child or an elderly person? There must be some huge disconnect that is putting them in that position. There's no excuse for it.
We have an increasing case of young boys, young men being the perpetrators of defilement, which should then that tells us then that we should have maybe this discussion not just at home but also in the schools by maybe including some education or having these GBV discussions around our curriculum.
Mwae task force notok kole nganda chang tuguk chotok chekokokochi kochang'a kaimutik cheu chotok konyolu konyor kora toretet biikab emet eng kasarta notok nebo kong'ong yautik chotok.
Some of the issues that are coming out clearly is there is a rise in defilement. There is a lack of prosecution happening for various challenges. Yet there is also some support that is being made available from the referral hospital. But the main problem also seems to be economic challenges. Multiple partners is coming up as well. And that's also the rising case of what's happening in the learning institute.
Some icheket kopit kanetishet eng syllabus chotok chebo sukulishekab emoni chekineti kipsomaninik kokuyo tuguk chotok chetesetai kokere eng oretab muswoknotet.
It really came out from the participants that we need to include sex education in our schools. And it's interesting that the church and the community are in agreement that at some point this was happening, but it stopped, and maybe could be the reason we are having many defilement cases.
You see, if they're not going to learn it properly and cautiously in school, they're learning it from a smartphone and they're learning the wrong thing. They're not learning the education of something called consent. They're not learning how to say no. They're not learning how to take care of their bodies. They're not learning that when they're being touched inappropriately, it's wrong. And unfortunately, sometimes there's no adult around to tell so and so that how you're handling this child is wrong.
Ole nyalu kora kotakewal alak eng ngatutik chemite eng katiba noto nebo emoni.
First thing that should happen is that why are these people who are killing people being released on parole or like on bond or on bail? Because you get for the case of Agnes Tirop, the guy is missing and the family is still, they're still mourning their child, they're still seeking for justice. And it's not only the case of Agnes Tirop. There are so many perpetrators who've gone to jail and they've come out, and also some who've just been given bail or bond and they've come outside and they're still doing that. So my recommendation for this, or what we are asking, is that the penal code should be changed. The law should be strategic to ensure that women are kept safe, to ensure that these people who've committed this murder are not free to come and commit other murders out here. Yeah, so my recommendation mainly on that one is the penal code should be changed and femicide should be criminalized on its own, because femicide is the extremist forms of GBV.
Kwangatikata unetab Eldoret eng county nebo Uasin Gishu, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Isaac Kogei.
Tesetai konyoru kanyoiset eng sipitalitab County Referral nebo Kericho biik 4 kosubkei ak kakutunosiek chekonyor icheket kosubkei ak nekoityol akobel icheket tiretab maiyek chemaiyonotin eng kokwetab Kirimoru eng Kunyak eng Kipkelion West eng county nebo Kericho. Iarorwech koindab logoiwechuto sirindenyo Robert Astiele.
Kosubkei ak masicherona kokomiten inendet en kot nekiriegen maiywek chemaiyonotin en kokwetab Kirimoru en Kunyak en Kipkelion West en county nebo Kericho, ole koityol teret nekokiriegen maiywek choton akobel inendet ak biik alak somok che akoi nguni komiten en sipitalitab County Referral nebo Kericho.
Ilipuka kama tuchu kwa changa ikuwa imetolewa ilikuwa bado
Kosubkei ak Irene Oduor komae amarieche maiywek kobaten kokoititiet nekokose inendet kit nekoikochi kocheng ole uen maat ole koit kotuiyo kityo ak nyasutyonoton.
Sasa tulikuwa tumeenda mtoni hapo chini penye wanachemsha pombe. Sasa drum ikapasuka, yani kalipuka na ikatumwagikia. Kwanza mimi nilichamba sana. Si tulienda tu na masi, tulienda tu kuota moto. Tuko hapo karibu sana, kaona moto iko huko tukaenda.
Kamwa John Kariuki, Ruth Washuka ak Stephen Mburu chemeng'ikab Kirimoru kole magere amune asimakiborien maiywek choton kikotestai koib asenet en komasatan.
Kwa kufanya wajafanya kwa muda zaidi, lakini ile kitu ninajua walikuwa kazi kama watu wale wengine walikuwa wanafanya kazi. Ni bahati mbaya ikatokea, lakini mimi nilikuwa nikiomba serikali kama wanaweza ng'ang'ana wamalize hiyo kitu inaitwa pombe kwa hiyo kijiji, ni mzuri zaidi.
Walisema walikuwa wanachemsha pombe ikawalipukia na walikuwa wamekaa hapo wakisongeza kuni juu baridi ilikuwa mingi. Walikuwa wamesongea jikoni sana sababu baridi ilikuwa. Sasa kama wako pale hivi chini, moto ikalipuka, hiyo pombe ikalipuka. Hiyo drum ya pombe ikalipuka, sasa ikawachoma, kuwachoma kabisa. Wamechomeka kabisa, tumehusunika kabisa sababu hii ni kitu yenye inajulikana, pombe inachemshwa, mahali inachemshwa inajulikana na kila mtu. Sasa tunaomba usaidizi, mtusaidie juu watoto wa Kunyak wataisha sababu ya pombe.
Na hiyo biashara imetusumbua sana kwa muda mrefu. Tumejaribu, serikali jaribu kuimaliza, lakini hongo kwa maofisa wa mapolisi, kwa machief, administration yote kwa jumla, hiyo shida iko. Na hata vijana wetu wasichana, ukipata hata wale ambao wamelazwa huko wengine ni wasichana na wameungua pia. Kwa hivyo hiyo biashara imetudhuru. Watoto wetu pia wamekuwa miraibu, pia wamezidiwa. Hakuna kitu wanafanya, ni kukunywa chang'aa tu.
Kosubkei ak kanyoindet neo ananasin chachen sipitalitab County Referral nebo Kericho Joel Tanui kokonyoru kakutunosiek cheechen murenik aeng'u ak kwonyik aeng konyoru kakutunosiek chemengechen ole akoi nguni kotesetai konyoru kanyoiset en sipitalinoton nebo County Referral.
The 4 patients had very serious burns and we had 2 males and 2 females. and the patient has they had very serious burns. In terms of percentage, the one male had 32% and the other female had 32%, but the other two had less than 10% burns.
Kong'eten county nebo Kericho, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyun ko Robert Siele.
Kakokoito toretet serikali nebo chepkondok silingisiek bilionisiek 3.2 koityi chemung'arainik 309 chemite counties chetinye nyanjet asikobarae mung'arosiekwak cheboto baetab njirenik. Eng kasarata kakokoito moingonik chesire 400 koityi tekikab njirenik. Kong'ololi eng county nebo Mombasa komwa rubeiwotab President Kithure Kindiki kole kakwautik choto kotokyingei kasuldaet nebo kamisutik chekikochi serikalitab Kenya Kwanza biikab emoni koityi tetutiet notok nebo bottom up.
Health risks which artisanal miners are facing, security risks, and we needed to clean up that space. We also needed to aggregate them, because aggregating people around value chains, cooperatives in different value chains is one of the models of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. In agriculture, we are aggregating farmers in cooperatives. There are areas which traditionally have done well, like coffee and maybe tea. But we are doing cooperatives in other value chains, in cotton, edible oils. And therefore, even for fisheries, blue economy, and mining, we must aggregate all the players in cooperatives. That way, government programs run better, more smoothly, impact is achieved greater. There is also economies of scale. Because if they are scattered, they are doing little things all over the place, we will not be able to accelerate the impact we want to create across the country.
For mining to have an impact in an economy, we must have large-scale mining.
Yes, commercial
mining. So for far too long, we have had to focus on the artisanal practices without aggregation. So we don't even have monitoring capability to know what is extracted. But I want to assure you, for the first time, we've been able to interest quite some good number of large mining companies that have come forward.
Kinyoru logoiyo asiyekiweke kinyoru logoiwekab ureriosiek meloitu.
Yo fam, it's that time again. Finals. Oh yeah. Go TV. Let's go. Final. Go TV. This is too big. The Premier League, La Liga, Champions League, FA Cup, Europa, and more. Finals. Stay connected to catch all the biggest football finals with your best football friend. Go TV. Love it.
Vultures are gathering, Ladama. With every bit that falls, power shifts.
I want them to feel the emptiness I feel.
All of our property and assets shall be left to Amichir Achesa.
A legacy unravels.
Mimi ndio sheria, mfalme wale Murat.
Who will be left standing when the last beat falls? Shanga Season 2, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on Maisha Magic Plus. Stay connected to DSTV Channel 163 and GoTV Channel 3.
Itagat eng logoiwek chebo ureriosiek kole kosir draw nemakergei golit age tugul timitab Talanta ak nebo Gor Mahia eng urerietab ligitab FKF Premier League. Koibet boroindo neo timitab Gor Mahia nebo korikyi timitab Kenya Police noto mitei taitab ligit.
I think
to me, I think we were not lucky today, but sometimes it happens in football, so we didn't have luck today. Yes, we are still pushing in football. Anything can happen, so we have to continue working hard and making sure that we win the remaining matches. Yes. As players, we know what we are supposed to do, and moving forward, we have to up our game as players and make sure that we win the remaining matches.
Ageng ureriet naton nebo golf ko kokiureren leg nebo Kericho en kabeletab nebo KCB Golf Series ole koimongei urerenik 112 koureren en kabeletab noto kosir kabelisiet timitab Nicholas Korir en leg noto.
Feels very well because it's actually a privilege to win this tournament, which was really tough and challenging. And actually it went well, the turnout was good, and the numbers were really good for the KCB tournament. It's all about the preparing and the train. We have to do maybe the practice. We have to really sharpen our skills and all that, then at least we can perform well. We are hopeful that we are going to perform well. And of course, golf is all about the zeal and the passion, and we are hopeful because when we won here, that is an assurance that we are somewhere in the league. So we are hopeful when we get to Mombasa, we're going to do our best to bring this home. We're going to get back to our training. We're going to get to our course, and we're going to try all that we can to bring this home because one, with the training and the consistency, I'm sure we're going to do this, and we're going to work it, and we are hopeful that we're going to represent Kericho very well, and we're going to put our name up there. As much as it's motivation, it's not all about the money, it's all about the game, and it's all about representing the club, Kericho Golf Club, and representing KCB.
Ako yuto kokakeit let nebo kayumetab logoiwekab emet kakibun eng orititab tetutietab tililindo rani. Kainenyu ko Chesankaro Sirma akimite ak kabarastaindet eng oret noton nebo kabarunoik Naomi Terotich. Testai ikere Kass TV, kimnatet net.